All right, so happy Ramadan again, and we are going to start a new lesson. And the lesson is very important tonight. It's about error correction. And here we are going to tackle 4 important areas about error correction. And as you see here, approaches to errors. What are the approaches to correcting mistakes or errors? What are the types of errors? Another very important question is when to correct. On what occasions teachers should correct, and on what occasions teachers should not correct. Good. And then if you would like to correct, what are the techniques as a teacher you should use to correct learners so as not to feel embarrassed or to feel shy or something like that? Okay. Yes, Miriam, a question? Miriam Kamil. Okay, no question. Great. So here, this is the first. Some teachers or, novice teachers get confused and they may use 2 terms as if they are the same. But when you become a teacher, you have to know about the difference between an error and a mistake. Because when you become a teacher, you cannot use them as if they are the same. No, because in teaching English as a foreign language, we have to master the terminology of TOEFL. So we should know what is a mistake and what is an error. Other people, they can use them as if they are the same, but you as a teacher, no. So here teachers would use both errors and mistakes as more or less interchangeably. But in English language teaching, there must be a clear distinction when dealing with the 2, an error and a mistake. So my question to all of you, what's the difference to avoid confusion? So what is an error and what is a mistake? Can you please write in the chat box? 3 minutes and we discuss. Yes, Hsna, activate your mic.
Hi, sir.
Hello?
Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, I think that there is a big difference between a mistake and an error. A mistake can either be a slip of a tongue or a temporary deficiency in producing the language, meaning that they can occur when learners are tried or when they unwillingly fail to apply grammar while speaking. I mean that they are self-corrected since learners, yes, they are self-corrected since learners promptly notice them. If they don't, a simple hint from the teacher or other learners would suffice to make learners aware of their mistakes and correct them accordingly. But concerning errors, they are repeated mistakes that is suggestive of the learner's failure to grasp a structure or apply it properly. For instance, let's say a student says she musts instead of must. It implies that he has not fully grasped the structure of modals in acquainted with them altogether. So a mistake is a mistake at the surface, while an error is a mistake in the deep surface.
All right, that's interesting. Yes, good. Thank you, Hsna. Yes, can you mute your mic now? Great, another one.
Hello?
Miriam? Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Well, a mistake is caused by lack of attention. It's not caused, however, a mistake is caused by lack of attention, and an error is happens for one reason, which is lack of knowledge.
Okay, that's interesting. Good. Wonderful. Great. So here we have two, an error and a mistake. So let's see the difference between the two. Number one, a mistake is when a student produces incorrect utterance or written form, though they know the correct form, but that happened due to lack of concentration or writing or speaking too fast. For example, a student may say, "Teacher, Bob play tennis," because the student did not concentrate well, because the student was talking fast, because the student did not pay attention. Then the teacher may help. Listen, Muhammad, Bob, he, she, it. Oh yeah, teacher, Bob plays. So it's a mistake. This is a mistake because number one, it was made due to lack of concentration, lack of sleep, or writing fast, or speaking fast, too fast. And number two, if the teacher helps the learner can correct herself and himself. Teacher, Bob play tennis. Look, Muhammad. Bob, teacher, Bob, he plays. So it's a mistake because the teacher gives some help and the learner could correct. So it's number two. A mistake can be corrected by the student if he gets a prompt, if he gets help from his teacher. So it's a slip of the tongue. Is it clear so far about the mistake? Yes, please. Great. Now the second term, which is an error, number three. An error is when the student produces incorrect utterances and would be unable to correct themselves. I give an example. Teacher, Bob play tennis every day. Look, Muhammad. Bob, he, she, it. So remember? Teacher. So Bob play tennis. No, Muhammad. Look, he, she, Bob play. Bob play. The learner cannot correct himself. So it's a mistake. It's an error. Why? It's number four. An error is systematic. Look, Muhammad, okay, teacher, Bob play. No, Muhammad, he, she, it. Yes, teacher, Bob play. Systematic, making the same problem. Why? It's number four. An error is systematic and the teacher's prompts, the teacher's help would not assist, would not help learners correct themselves because they don't know how to use the piece of language correctly, because they don't know the form, because they don't know the rule, because of lack of knowledge. This is an error. So a mistake is not systematic, but an error is systematic. A mistake, you know about it. There is knowledge about the structure. But an error, there is lack of knowledge. You don't know the rule. Clear so far about the two? Wonderful. So let's move on to the next one. Now, a slip of the tongue or a mistake. So someone to read this situation and then the questions, then I give you some time to think about it. Yes, Anas, activate your mic.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Olga, I correct my student in class last week. He wrote Fred play basketball, so I interrupted him and told him he should add S. He got quite annoyed with me and told me that he knew all about the third person singular. Yet, in the class, in the next classes, he started telling me he wants to be corrected more. Questions: who was wrong, Olga or her students? Why do you think this?
Wonderful. So let me give you 4 minutes. Read the situation again, take some time, take some notes, then we can reflect on it. So 4 minutes. All right, so anyone, or you can write in the chat box. So who was wrong, Olga or her teacher? And why do you think this happened? Any volunteer?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, Anas.
Yeah, I think that Olga is wrong because first she interrupted the students, and interrupting someone while speaking is something not good while teaching them or even having a conversation. So the first error from Olga is to interrupt the student while talking.
Good. That's interesting. So the problem is with Olga and not her student. But look here, at the end of the conversation or the situation, yet in the next classes, he started telling me he wants to be corrected more. So I think that the problem is with the two, with the teacher and her student. So why
But
do you,
sir,
yeah, why do you think
yeah,
this?
I think this is an exception because not a lot of students. This is a lucky situation because not all the students want to be interrupted and they feel uncomfortable while being interrupted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Yeah. I agree to some extent. So here the problem is about timing. Timing is very important when it comes to error correction. When you want to correct your learners, you have to choose the right time. So interrupting is not the right time, but it depends on the type of the mistake, the activity, etc. So let's see here the feedback. Someone to read, please. Any volunteer? Yes, Miriam.
Feedback on Olga and her students' attitude about correction. The student does seem to be sending slightly contradictory messages to Olga. However, Olga's intervention may have been untimely and interrupted the student's flow of conversation. The key issue here is that knowing when is correct is a sensitive judgment call for teachers. Students who do want feedback on their language, but they like to get it at the right time.
Good. So these are the keywords. Please don't interrupt learners, especially if it is a fluency-based activity, if it is speaking. And don't forget, it's a sensitive judgment call for learners. Some learners may not like it. Some learners may feel shy, embarrassed, stressed. Another keyword, you choose the right time. Okay. Great. The next one. Now let's see the approaches to error correction. There are three approaches to error correction. The first approach, Manal, the second, Anne, and Michael. So number one, which teacher's views do you agree with and why? And number two, based on your experience as a learner, did you like when your teacher corrected your errors? Why or why not? So please, I want you to take a picture of this slide because I'm going to put you in groups and then I will give you 5 minutes to discuss together. So please take a picture and let me know. Then I put you in groups. You can share it on the WhatsApp group, please. So here we have group number one, Fidwa, Fatima, Zara, Umahi, and Lamia Mumin. Group number two, Hafsa Ibrahimi, Hasna, Yasmina. Group number three, Hisham Ismail. And group number four, we have Anas and Fatima Zara. So let me recreate again, just three groups. All right, 1 second. Good, so join your groups. So Hisham, please join the group. Lamia as well, join your group. So do you hear me now again? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So I like the idea of some of you talked about, they liked, the majority talked about Michael as the best, approach. Others said Manal and Mike, etc. Okay, good. So here, based on your experience as a learner, yes, what do you think? Did you like your teacher correcting you or not?
Can I speak, sir?
Yes, activate your mic, please.
Can you hear me, sir? Hello?
Yes, Anas.
Yes, sir. Personally, I agree with Michael because the fact that while I was learning English, if someone came to me and said that errors are very natural and part of the learning process, that made me in a cool situation. So I would prefer Michael, but I think all of them have the same point.
Okay, that's nice. Wonderful. So here, it depends on the personality of each learner, but at the same time, it depends on the way the teacher corrects his or her learners. And we said timing is important because we will see later that when students are on task, is it fluency-based activity or is accuracy-based activity? So if you know the type of the activity, then you can have or you can choose a certain approach to correct learners. Later, we are going to specify concerning fluency-based and accuracy-based activities. Great. So look here. These are some types of errors. Like, pronunciation problems, grammar problems, vocab problems, discourse, etc. Now here, number from 1 to 4 are examples of spoken errors. So fluency, speaking. So letters A to E are categories of errors. Numbers or number 1 to 4 indicate what the problem is. So match the examples to the categories and problems. Can we do number 1 all together? Look here. I should a doctor see. So what do you think about this one? I should a doctor see. Is it pronunciation, grammar, vocab, or discourse? So let me see. And I said grammar. Hasna, grammar. Yes, Fatima, grammar. Fadwa, grammar. Anas said word order. Okay, Yasmin, grammar. Yes, okay. So let's right here at the end, I'm going to show you the correction. So all of you mentioned it's grammar. And the problem is about word order. Thank you. Great. Word order. Now I would like to give you 4 minutes. Continue, please. Completing the chart. Yes. So what do you think about number 2? Any volunteer?
Sir, can I talk?
Yes, please.
I think vocabulary.
Wonderful. Yes, it's vocab. Great. And what's the problem? Bob is longer than Laura.
Cohesion.
Yes, means that cohesion. And what do you think? Fatima, Zara, collocation, Anas, thank you. It's collocation because longer, we use it with things. Taller with people, okay. So, collocation, great. The third one, I have a problem in my stomach. Stomach. So it is pronunciation. Thank you, Anas. Great, pronunciation. All right. And what's the problem? The majority said sound. Great, I agree. The last one is, do you like ice cream? B, no, thank you. So what's this? It is a discourse. Great. So discourse. And the problem is, yes, cohesion. Great, it's cohesion. So these are some types of mistakes. Great. So let me move to the next slide. So I should adapt its grammar, word order. Bob is longer, its vocab, collocation. I have a problem in my stomach. It's a pronunciation problem, sound, and discourse cohesion. Great. Now, another question, when to correct? Okay. So here, I want you to read the 3 situations. What should the teacher do about learners' errors? Choose the best answer for each situation. So there are 3 times, 3 occasions. The first one, the teacher should correct the error immediately on the spot. It's number 1. B, the teacher should not correct. Another time, no, I'm not gonna correct anymore, or no need. And C, the teacher should delay, postpone the correction, maybe till the end of the session, and provide feedback at the end of the activity. So there are 3 times. Number 1, you correct on the spot, on time, at the same time. Number 2, you don't correct. Number 3, you postpone till the end. Now, we are going to do situation number 1 all together. Then I give you some time for situation number 2 and number 3. So situation number 2, 2 volunteers. We have T, teacher, and S, student. 2 volunteers, please. Raise your hand. So Anas, and raise your hand. Anas is the teacher. Another student. Maryam. Okay, good. Yes, please.
Should I say the situation number 2?
No, you read situation number 1. You are the teacher. Read the sentence.
Situation number 1. Okay. Good. And what do you do, Bob?
I work at school. My job is to learn teachers.
Wonderful, thank you. So here, this is a situation. Where is the mistake?
I work at school, my lord.
Yes, so I work at school, my job is to learn. This is the mistake.
Yes.
I work at school, my job is to
Teach teachers.
teach teachers or learners.
Teach learners, sorry.
Good, so these are the mistakes. Good. Now, my question, are you going to correct the student immediately? When we say immediately, it means you interrupt him. Number two, you don't correct. Or number three, you delay till he or she finishes. So what do you think?
I think that the teacher should not correct the error because it is obvious that it is a slip of tongue.
Good. Thank you. Others. So Fatima, Ismail said C. Ismail C. Fatima Zara delay till the end. Ihsan till the end. Good. Now my question here for situation number one. Do you think that the message is clear? Do you think that the message is clear or not? Do you think that the teacher understands what his learner is trying to say or to convey?
He said that, hello?
Yes, thank you.
He,
Great. So here, if you think that the message is clear, there is no need to interrupt and correct. Maybe you don't correct, or maybe you delay till the end. Now, is it fluency-based activity or accuracy-based activity? This one, what do you think? Fluency, Fatima Zahra, Ismail, good. If it is fluency, there is no need to correct, or you can correct till the end. Okay. But if there is breakdown of communication, I mean here the message is not clear, the message is not obvious, yes, you should correct immediately because you don't understand what he or she is talking about. Now, I would like to give you 5 minutes. Work alone and do situation number 2 and situation number 3. 5 minutes. All right, so what do you think about number 2? I mean here, 2 volunteers again, teacher and student. Can you please raise your hand? Yes, so, yes, please. So Hafsa, number 1 is the teacher. The student is Hasna. Yes, please, activate your mics.
Yes.
So Hafsa is the teacher and Hasna is the learner.
Listen to the top.
A woman.
What does she eat?
She eat pizza.
Great. So Hafsa, what do you think? What's the problem?
I think it's a grammatical mistake.
Uh-huh.
She said
Yes.
she said she eats pizza. It's a grammatical mistake.
Good. So are you going to choose A, B, or C to correct immediately, not to correct, or delay?
I'm going to choose C. C.
Hafsa, we cannot hear you.
C. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go on.
C.
So it is
The
C.
teacher should, yes. The teacher should delay the correction and provide feedback at the end of the activity.
All right. Yeah, and by the way, it's debatable. I mean, maybe all of them are correct, but it depends on the type of the activity. It depends on, I mean, the learners themselves, etc. But look here, I would like to shed light on something very important. Listen to the tape. Who is talking? So what lesson is this one? What lesson? What lesson? Listening, thank you. It is listening. So listening comprehension. We have we have reading and listening. Thank you. Listening comprehension. It is not grammar. You see, we are not talking about grammar here. It is comprehension, which means that learners are going to listen and the teacher will ask them a question. Listen to the tape. Who is talking? Students, a woman. What does she eat? Teacher, she eats pizza. Is the message clear or not? Is the message clear or not? Is there breakdown of communication? Thank you, Anas. Fatima Zara. The message is clear. It's comprehension. I, as a teacher, understood that my learner got the answer because I'm not teaching grammar. I'm not interested in grammar. There is another lesson for grammar, but my objective is listening comprehension. I want to understand that my learners understand. You see my point. So, number 1, no. The teacher should correct the error immediately? No. The teacher should not correct the error? B, what do you think about B? Yes, Hafsa said wrong. Which one is wrong? So would you go for B or not? The teacher should not correct the error.
Sir, can I talk?
Yes, Fatima Zara.
The teacher should not correct the error because it's not a grammar lesson.
Thank you. For me, I would go for B. I would go for B because my objective, please, whenever you teach any lesson, you go back to your objectives. My objective number one is teaching listening communicatively. So students are going to skim or scan or get the gist, etc. These are my objectives. It's not about grammar. It's not about structure. It's about comprehension. So if my learner says she eats pizza, yes, it's correct for me because I am evaluating, I am testing comprehension and not grammar or structure. So I would go number one for B and C as well. But the best for me is B. I don't correct. Okay.
Sir, can I speak?
Yes, please.
Yes, as you said, this is debatable because it depends on everyone's point of view. But I think it's number C because sometimes when we make an error in front of learners, they may print that expression as an expression with no errors.
Yeah.
Sometimes they print some expressions that include mistakes as the correct answers. So I think that number C is, of course, this is not a question of true or false. It's just a point of view.
Thank you, Anas. Good. Yes, Anas, I agree to some extent, but remember something very essential. Learning is a process. Learning step by step. I'm going to teach them grammar. I'm going to teach them grammar later. And if my learner uses or answers this way, of course, I'm going to correct her or correct him. Why? Because as a teacher, I stick to my objectives. I go back to my objectives. My objectives is to teach grammar, the structure, the form. So if the learner makes mistakes about the form, I correct. But my objective is teaching comprehension. I don't care about grammar, but I care about comprehension. Though they make a mistake, but their comprehension is correct. Full stop. That's my objective. Learning is a process. There is another lesson where I'm going to correct. This is number one. Number two, do your best to avoid correcting learners. Do your best to avoid correcting your learners. And if you want to correct them, choose the right time. Choose the right time. So for me, I go number one for B and number two, C. So the best for me is B, then it's C. Okay, thank you, Anas, for your, point of view and reflection. Good. Number three, I want, 4 volunteers. Student 1, student 2, student 3, and student 4. So the students are, 5. One is going to read the introductory sentence, then we have students. So Anas, you read the introductory sentence. Fadwa, number 1. Fatima Zahra, number 2. Lamia, number 3. Yasmin, number 4. Good. Yes, activate your mic.
The students are working in groups of 4 while the teacher is monitoring. She hears these utterances from students in different groups.
Yes, please. Lamia, you are number 1. Fadwa, number 2. Fatima Zahra, number 3. And Yasmin, number 4. Yes, Lamia.
Paris is a beautiful place for tourists.
I think France is very wonderful for everybody.
Yes, I am agree with Laura.
I like to travel by plane because it's comfortable.
That's nice. So here again. So students are working in groups of 4. While the teacher is monitoring, She hears the utterances from students in different groups. And my question, what type of lesson or activity is this? Is it speaking, writing, listening? What do you think?
Speaking.
Thank you. It's speaking. So student number 1, Paris is beautiful place. What's the mistake? The mistake is
Paris is a beautiful place for tourists.
From
Good.
article.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. So indefinite article. I think France is very wonderful for everybody. Is there a mistake? No mistake. Good. Yes,
No.
I am. Yes, I am agree. So with the to be. Okay, the problem. I like to travel by plane because it is comfortable. Is there a mistake? Correct. Thank you. Now, your learners are in groups of 4. Now, you monitor, you check if they are on task, but you heard one student said, Paris is beautiful. The other, yes, I am agree. Are you going to interrupt or not correct or delay? What do you think again? Can you write, is A, B, or C? So Anas C, Ismail B, Fadwa C, Lamia, you delay. Fatima Zara not correct. Good. So the majority said B and C. So I would go for C, the third one. When you monitor learners, you take with you your notes and you write the mistakes. So you are listening to your learners. You are moving from one group to another and you write the common mistakes that students made. Oh, so the group number 1 said Paris is, so there's indefinite article. Okay. Then you move to another group and then you take notes. Good. One of the best ways is to delay till the end of the class and then you write them on the board. But don't tell them who made the mistake. No, it's not effective. You include the whole class to correct. So what do you think? Do we say Paris is beautiful place for tourists? What's wrong about this one? And then some learners may answer so they can correct themselves. So C would be the best. C would be the best. And as Hasna said, it depends on each activity. So is it clear so far? Great. So let's move on to the next one. Now, when not to correct. So we talked about you correct immediately, or you don't correct, or you delay. Now, when a student speaks the first time in class, imagine the first time you teach your learners, the first time you meet your learners, and then you tell them, introduce yourself. Yes, introduce yourself. Don't correct them. Don't correct them. When you correct them, you make them feel that it's a difficult classroom. It's a challenging subject. You are a very tough teacher. No, don't correct. It's the first time. Just listen to them. Number 2, when you are doing an activity of which the main aim is to help them relax and enjoy the following part of the lesson. Go back to your objectives. My objective is to have fun, relax, etc. I don't correct mistakes. Number 3, when the learner is communicating something very important to them. For example, a learner may tell you, teacher, I want to tell my classmates what my philosophy teacher saying. So don't correct, because the learner is going to tell them something very important about philosophy class or French class or geography class. So even though he makes mistakes, it's okay because the information is important. Number 4, when you are teaching reading or listening, so remember comprehension, reading or listening, the learner says the correct answer, but she makes a small grammar mistakes in doing so. We don't correct because it's comprehension. It is not grammar. And remember the situation. The situation number 2, this one, listen to the tape. Who is talking? She's eat pizza, so we don't correct. And number 5, the teacher is angry with the student because they are being disrupted. There are some troublemakers you may have in class. Once they speak, you try to correct them. Why? Because they make noise. No. Even though they make noise, but you have to approach them the same way you approach other learners. You correct immediately, or you don't correct, or you delay, even though they are troublemakers. Clear so far? We can move on to the next one. And that's what, so what is a small grammar mistake? Small grammar mistake like he play, not he plays. Okay. Or she is eat pizza, is eat pizza, okay. These are small mistakes. It means you know the message, you know what is the learner talking about. Good, now, so when you correct, you ask yourself as a teacher, is the activity based on accuracy or fluency? Is it fluency-based activity or accuracy-based activity? Fluency, you don't care about mistakes. Is the flow of speech. You talk freely. Accuracy, you care about mistakes, about grammar must be correct. Vocab must be correct. Spelling must be correct. Everything must be correct. It's accuracy. Good. Now, I want you to read these 2 activities, fluency activity and accuracy activity. Then you answer questions A, B, and C. I would like you again to take a picture of this slide and you share it on the WhatsApp group. Then I give you 5 minutes, you think about it. So please take one picture of this slide and then I'm going to put you in groups. Okay, so did you take a picture of this slide?
Yes.
Great, so now join your groups. So Fidwa, Hafsa, Hasna, Lamia, group 1. Anas, Fatima, Ismail, Mariam, group 2. Fatima, Zara, Hisham, Yasmin, group 3. Yes, please. You have 5 minutes. Okay, that's interesting. Again, I enjoyed listening to your groups, the three groups, and very interesting answers, reflections. So for the first activity, who corrects the mistake? Yes.
It's class correction.
Who corrects the mistake?
It's class correction. The whole class participates in the correction of the mistake.
Okay, good. So learners, wonderful. And what would the alternative be if this strategy didn't work? So if it didn't work, then the teacher should correct. Okay, good. What are the benefits of delaying the correction till the end of the activity?
Sorry, teacher, I'm going to interrupt you. Concerning B, what would the alternative be if the strategy didn't work? I think it is the activity is fluency based, so the teacher he couldn't. He has the choice not to correct the mistakes, the mistake,
No,
because the activity is fluency based.
yes, Miriam, even though it's fluency, it doesn't mean that when the activity is based on fluency, we should not correct. Okay, but it depends.
Okay.
We can choose the right time. This is number one, very important. And then your objectives. So there is fluency, but you want them to speak, because speaking can be fluency and can be also accuracy. If you speak, but as a teacher, you don't care. You want them just to speak, okay, quickly, even though they make mistakes. That's okay, so you don't correct. But if they are speaking, but you pay attention to their mistakes, then here we can talk about accuracy. So it depends, even though it's speaking, is it based on fluency or based on accuracy?
Okay.
Yeah. So when we talk about fluency, it doesn't mean that all fluency activities, we should not correct them. No. Remember, we said we should correct, especially when there is breakdown of communication, when there is no message. So even though it is fluency or accuracy, you should correct because there is breakdown of communication. But the best, as we agreed on, is you choose the right time and then you go back to your objectives. Yes, Miriam?
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah. What are the benefits of delaying the correction till the end? What do you think? Thank you, Fatima Zara. There is no interruption, Ismail. It creates a positive learning environment. Wonderful. Good. So there is no interruption. They continue working. There is the flow of speech. Wonderful. Great. Now let's move on to the next one. Accuracy activity. Do you ignore? So look, this is a mistake. They playing football now. They playing football now. So A, ignore the mistake. B, say they are playing football now, or you say in the present continuous. So which would you choose, A, B, or C? So it's grammar lesson, so it's C.
So I think B is a little bit aggressive.
Aggressive?
Yeah, because you suddenly say the correct expression. I don't. The next time the student wouldn't be able to speak freely.
Yes, so these are techniques. Either you ignore or you give them the right answer, or you give them a prompt. So as a professional teacher, yes, you would go for C, because we all the time try to create a positive learning environment, and we focus on learner-centered approach. Learner-centered approach goes with C. Teacher-centered approach goes with B. You see what I mean? Good. So the right answers, are B and C, but the best is C. The best one is C. Great. So let's move on to the next one again. Now, the difference between correction mistakes in fluency and accuracy. Number one, the difference is that you don't have enough time. If they are speaking fluency, you don't have enough time. If it's writing, you have enough time. You get back their papers, their exam sheets, their writing tasks, and you have time to correct. Number two, it's essential to highlight where the mistake is, especially for writing. You can underline or you can circle where the mistake. Or in speaking, you just repeat the word. He plays chess. Okay, listen, play, play, play. Okay. Number three, it is essential to highlight the type of the mistake. Teacher, he played tennis yesterday. Simple pass, grammar, chances, chances, simple pass. So the type of the mistake. Okay, good. Or another difference, it's essential to involve the learners in the correction process. Don't give them the answer. Help him or her to correct himself or herself. If he or she cannot, peer correction. If the peer correction did not work, teacher correction. All right, good. Now, let's move on to the techniques. Now, how can you correct? What techniques are you going to use? So look here, read the error below and correct it, taking into account the given correction techniques. Student, they go to the cinema last Sunday. They go to the cinema last Sunday. Where is the, or what is the mistake? Thank you, it's go. So using terminology is one of the techniques. You can say, last night, it's grammar, grammar. Oh, teacher. So last night, it means the past. So go, yes, went, good. This is the technique. Now let's see the other techniques.